So namaste and welcome to Satsang tonight. So tonight I wanted to do some very direct self-inquiry and really just to break through some beliefs that we have that this process, this waking up out of our old sense of who we thought we were, that it needs to be that it's a long and involved process, and it really doesn't need to be. And to shortcut that, it's important to have the direct experience of what you really are as soon as possible. There's major benefits to this, but the most important benefit is really that it will become a lived thing for you. The truth will be your truth. It won't just be something that teachers are talking about or something you've read about in a book. Most importantly, it will be something that has come alive inside you. So we're just going to do a very simple self-inquiry process to directly experience what is actually real about you, the most real aspect of you, the one that's permanent. So you can follow along if you like, or if you prefer just to listen. But if you really want to wake up, I would urge you to follow along. And it doesn't matter whether your eyes are open or closed for this. Just to follow along and see if you can prove to yourself what I'm saying inside. See if you can bring yourself to really experience the truth of what you actually are. So just as you're sitting here right now, watching this, listening to this, you're naturally, effortlessly using your senses to perceive. Your eyes are looking at the image on the screen. Your ears are taking in the words that I'm saying, any sounds in your environment. It's quite natural and effortless for you to be functioning this way. And also, your body is making contact with whatever you're sat on. There's a sense of touch. And then just to shift your attention, shift your focus, to begin to notice the space in the room. So we can perceive the objects in the room. We can also perceive the empty space in the room. So wherever you're watching this from, there are some objects in the room. There's also some empty space. And then just to expand a little further, I'd like you to bring your attention to this moment, this present moment, which is kind of the space in which even the room is happening. Your body, the room that you're sitting in, these words are all happening inside this moment. This moment has to be here first, before you can even hear these words. So if we put some attention on this moment, and just to investigate what that is, and I'm going to ask some questions that may seem really strange, but just see if you can follow along with these questions and investigate as we're talking. So first of all, where is this moment? It's here. It's very definitely present. Right now, there's a sense of this moment in which these words are happening. But where is it precisely? Can you say it's over here? Or could you say it's over there? Does it have a location like your body does? Your body can say, well, it's here, it's sitting in this chair. But is that applicable for this moment? Does it have any color to it? Does it have any characteristics to it? Does it fit any of these categories? This moment, has it changed since we first began satsang tonight? Is it changing this moment? what's appearing in this moment, our bodies, these words, things that are going on, car driving past outside, all that is changing. But this moment itself, is it actually changing? And when did this moment start? If we look at the clock, there's a second hand that's ticking, indicating segments of time. But is that really how it is for this particular moment? Or is it something completely different? So, does it have any quality that you can say it's like this or it's like that? How big is this moment? Everyone right now on this satsang has the same sense that this is all happening in this moment. These words are being spoken and understood. Is my sense here of this moment any different to yours? Where these words have been spoken and where they're being heard, is it any different at all? Is there any dividing line between my moment and your moment, wherever you are watching this? So it's important to begin to really put some attention on the most permanent thing about you, which is this moment. Everything else that is arising inside this moment, these words, they're gone as soon as they're spoken. Anything, any objects appearing are going to disappear. Even the building you're sitting in is going to disappear. Even the body that you're using to hear this through, that I'm using to speak this through, is going to disappear. There's only one thing that is not going to go. So that must be what you are, first and foremost. Before anything arises in this moment must be here. So could it be possible that this intangible, invisible moment that we can't really locate, but is very much present, that doesn't have any borders or boundaries, is actually the intelligence itself? What if this moment is more intelligent than our human mind? What if this moment, the thing that we all just take for granted is here, is actually the driving sentience behind all life, everything that appears inside this moment? And I want you to notice as well how effortlessly you shifted your focus from what's appearing inside this moment to the moment itself. And even when you were noticing this moment, you could still use your senses effortlessly. You didn't suddenly stop hearing my words when I asked you to notice this moment. You were still hearing. You could still see this image. You could still see what's coming in through your eyes. So where are you perceiving this from then? If you can shift effortlessly in a heartbeat from noticing through your senses and then taking in this moment, which you can't see with your eyes, but it's very definitely being perceived by you. You can switch effortlessly from one to the other. And even when you put your attention on this moment, you're still looking through your senses too. They're both happening at the same time. So where are you perceiving this from then? If you can effortlessly look through the forms, and you can effortlessly immediately shift to noticing the formless nature that is the real self, this moment, this invisible field of context in which all of this is arising. Where are you then if you can notice form and formless effortlessly switching? Did it take any time? Did you have to do any practice? Did you have to get into the right state? Did you have to transcend your karma to notice it? Or is it just something you've always been able to do? It's simply a shift of focus, a shift of attention. This moment is here and is eternal and unending, unchanging. It's invisible, it's intangible, it's unlocatable. It doesn't have a particular place we can say it's here. If your body got up now and started to walk, how far would you get before you lost the sense of this moment that your body was walking in? How far would you get before it disappeared? Could it disappear? Could it be that this is what you've always been in your first and foremost aspect, but perhaps attention hasn't gone to this? This has gone unnoticed, this moment. Maybe you just didn't know that you could do this so easily. Maybe we've been believing in some process or some trying to get somewhere. So can you be only inside this body if you can perceive formlessness effortlessly? How are you perceiving this moment? How is it that you're noticing something that you cannot see with your eyes, that doesn't have any smell at all, that is completely intangible, even less tangible than the space in the room? It doesn't have any color, doesn't have any texture, doesn't have any size, doesn't have any shape. It doesn't have anything at all that you could use to contrast and to compare the nature of this moment. So how are you actually recognizing it? With what faculty? Is it a thinking process? Or is it just a recognition, instantaneous recognition that this moment is here? And if you're not using your senses to perceive this moment, you can use your senses to perceive what's appearing inside this moment. But it's a different faculty altogether that we're using to actually notice the intangibility of this moment. Could it be that we're noticing the same thing even? That what we see through our senses and this moment that we perceive are the same thing viewed from two different angles? That when I look at this moment through my human senses, I see a world of objects and change and becoming and shapes that are constantly in motion. And when I look at this moment without my senses, I see intangibility, formlessness, ineffability, something that's constantly present and unchanging. So where are you perceiving this from? If you can effortlessly see your Buddha nature right now, just by perceiving this moment, the formlessness in which all of this content is appearing. Can you only be limited to this body and mind? Where are you looking from? If the moment that I asked you, you effortlessly shifted a gear and began to notice the formless intangibility that we've been told takes so long to notice. I think we noticed it in about 5 seconds. So where are you looking from then? Could it be that you are already outside of the mind and body, looking through them, using them, enjoying the senses, the mind, but also immediately able to perceive that which is not perceivable through the senses and the mind? Mind can think about something. Mind can think about this moment, but it cannot directly see something that is invisible. Mind is looking to try to compare two things, visible and invisible even. Why is it important to recognize where you're looking from? Because then you're going to see that you're looking at your mind, at your body, rather than from them only. You're going to see that they're happening inside your experience and that they function effortlessly. Even right now, my attention is on the formlessness of this moment. I can still say these words and I could still understand if someone was talking to me. So what is it then that is watching And it can switch effortlessly between looking through the body and the senses and looking at the empty, vast formlessness of this moment. Have you ever stopped really to think this way? That you might be so already completely beyond where you think you are, and perhaps just not noticed? Or perhaps we've had this idea that we have to work up to it, or that we have to let go of something first to see it. Is this intangible moment affected at all by anything that arises in it? Can anything at all happen in this appearance that's happening that will affect the formless reality that you are? Could anything destroy it? Could anything bring it to an end? All these shapes that the formless moment is taking that we call objects, phenomena, if they all suddenly disappeared, has the moment disappeared? Has the moment changed? It's important to recognize exactly where you're looking from already. You don't even have to know how to do that. This exercise is only to show you that you're not looking from where you think. You've just gotten so used to looking through the mind and body, looking through the senses, that you perhaps forgot that you can effortlessly shift right now in this moment. When I look through my senses, I call it a world. I call it tangible. I call it visible. I call it form. And when I look without my senses on my mind, I call it invisible and intangible and formless. Could they be the same thing that we're looking at? Could they be two ways of perceiving yourself? Could this world, this room, these objects be something very different than what we thought they were? So what is enlightenment then, in this, viewed in this perspective? It simply becomes then a shift of focus, a habit, a shift from continuously focusing on what's appearing in this moment to continuously and effortlessly noticing this moment in its intangibility first. And the body continues to function with the interact with the other forms and do all the things it needs to do. Right now, where you're focusing on this moment, your body is still doing exactly what it needs to do. The blood is pumping, your lungs are breathing. You can still hear these words, understand what they mean, even without having to put any attention on them at all. It's just effortless for you. So I really want to show you that it's really a shift of focus only, that with enough consistent attention put on the formlessness that is this moment, that really isn't hard to do, whether we call it this moment, or silence, or stillness, or awareness, or the Noúmeno, or the self, or reality, or 100,000 names that it has. It doesn't really matter what we call it. It's just important to see that it's just a shift of focus to notice this first. And perhaps that's all an awakened being has ever really done, is cultivated a habit to notice this first. So much so that it becomes effortless. Maybe it's just an old habit to focus on the phenomena and completely exclude that context, that field of awareness, the Noúmeno, the real self, the formless reality in which those are appearing. And could it be that your awakening is so much closer than we are perhaps believing, that simply to shift attention consistently until it becomes effortless and continuous, like any habit. Just like it's effortless and continuous for you to focus on the forms now, to focus on what's appearing inside this moment first. Then we have to put some effort and attention to kind of reverse that habit, to make a new habit. At some point, it just becomes effortless and continuous to focus on the formlessness. And then just watching the phenomena move around inside this moment that is appearing as your life. And then when attention becomes effortlessly focused on this moment first, there is no ability to be scared of anything, to be hurt by anything, to fear any endings, to fear any change. There's no ability to feel that there's anywhere else to get to, or anything to let go of, or anything that you need to get before you're complete. What does this moment need right now? The intangibility that is this real you, this moment, the ever-present nowness that you are. What does it need? What does it want? How much more work does it have to do before it comes effortlessly itself, before it becomes itself? Is there any further that it has to travel before it arrives at being present now? Can it ever not be present? Even if when it appears as a human being, it's trained its attention to focus on phenomena, did it ever really change or disappear? Can it feel unworthy? Can it feel unloved or unaccepted? Can it feel wronged? Can it feel angry? Can it feel disturbed? Can it suffer? What can bring it to an end? Even if everything appearing in this moment right now was destroyed, all the shapes that it's taking, this moment, would it be changed? Would it be destroyed? Would it be lacking or diminished in any way at all? Where did we get this idea from that it's so difficult to notice what is intangible? And why do we insist that it is so? This moment is completely aware. It is the intelligence behind these words, behind every single word. This moment is completely still. It is ever present everywhere. It cannot move anywhere because it already is everywhere. It's completely silent and listening to the noise of the universe. Its shape, its form is the universe. It's conscious. It's not inert. It's intelligence itself. It is just being here. It has many names. So what then is so challenging? What can stop us from fully coming to notice this in a consistently effortless way? Can any of our objections of things that are happening inside our body and mind affect this moment? Can anything that we thought could stop us affect our noticing of this moment? Even something happening inside our body, a strong emotion or a barrage of thoughts, this moment must be here first for those to happen inside. and can be used to notice that they're happening inside this moment. Anything that's changing in the form can be contrasted against the unchanging background of the formlessness. I really, really would like you to see that you already are this, that you are looking through the form from somewhere else. You are looking at your mind and body from somewhere that is not locatable. Could the simple truth be that you are this moment already and always have been, and everything appearing inside it? But attention has just gone habitually to what is appearing inside. There is something indestructible about you, immutable, unchanging, immortal, powerful in the gentlest way of all. Unlimited, already completely free, and incapable of being bound ever. So free that you've imagined that you are this separate, limited being appearing inside the moment, and that became a long-standing dream. But what can stop you from coming out of it? A simple shift of focus to notice the intangible reality, the space, the beingness in which all this is appearing. Noticing that has always been here but never noticed. Noticing that which isn't shouting for attention and never will. Noticing that which has already completely arrived and never left home. It's absolutely within your reach to come to notice this, just consistently bringing attention back to this. And not blaming yourself when attention goes back to the body, mind, or to an experience. Just simply bringing it back again. One more time, then attention moves, you bring it back. What if that was the only thing that awakened being had done consistently? They brought their attention back, opened it up to perceive the formlessness. One more time, then it was habitually drawn to the mind or to an experience or to a physical sensation. And then somehow, accidentally, one day, they forgot how to zoom in again to only one body and mind. Somewhere along the way, that ability just fell away. I really would like you to see how possible it is and how probable it is for you. The fact that you're even listening to this means it's already in progress. The realization, the moment itself is waking up to its own formless nature. It's had enough of dreaming itself to be someone with all the ups and downs and excitements and disappointments that come with that. The great news is that when you recognize yourself as the formless moment, you still get to enjoy the ups and downs and excitements and disappointments, but knowing they're not touching you. It's just a movie that you're watching. It's just a scene that's unfolding, constantly changing, that you've called your life. So just prove to yourself that you can look through the senses, or you can look at this moment effortlessly, shifting back and forth, no big deal. You can listen to the silence, or you can listen to the sound of these words. You can only hear these words because the silence they're appearing in, contrasting. And it's so effortless and automatic for you to do that. You just haven't probably noticed how easy that is for you to do. And if some emotion arises and you feel that you cannot bring your attention back to the moment, It's fine. It will pass. And as soon as it does, you bring your attention back. Doesn't mean that anything at all is going wrong. Just spend some time noticing the moment. Noticing that when you notice the formlessness, you're still using your senses effortlessly. It's not one or the other. It's not like our mind says. Our mind says, well, if you're walking around noticing the moment, you're going to bump into things. You're not going to see where you're going. You're going to forget stuff. Actually, what if it's the opposite, that your body and mind function much better, much more efficiently when attention is on this moment? It certainly was the case for me. And actually, my body and mind didn't function that well at all when attention was consistently on them. It's just a shift of focus. Where your attention goes to first. That's the only thing. The only thing. Just has to be consistent. Okay. So I will open it up for questions. If anybody would like to ask a question or to share something, you can click on the participants at the bottom of your screen and click on the little thing that says raise hand, and it'll let me know that you want to ask a question or share something. Claire? Claire, sorry.
Hi, Helen.
Hiya.
It's a bit of a question. I've got something tomorrow where there can be, it's an appointment in the morning, where there can be a couple of 3 outcomes. And the head is going, well, if this happens, then this and this and this and this, and it's got a whole story behind it for each scenario. And then I'm going back to the, well, whatever will happen, and acceptance. But I don't know whether it's, I don't think it's quite, I think it's all mind. I don't know whether I'm actually transcending and moving it from, you know what I mean? I can't think of the word yet. I don't think it's going through.
Can you hear the silence right now?
Yes.
So does the silence have to decide what to do with this?
No.
So just, if I were you, I would just listen to the silence. Let mind do its thing. Yeah. Can you feel the difference?
Yeah, it's kind of doing its own thing.
Yeah. Do you even need to sort this out?
No, because
Maybe
tomorrow
what's
what will happen will happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe you've given yourself a job that you don't even have to do. You know, maybe you know, mind has started to have its fun with these options and has suggested to you that you need to sort it out somehow, or make the noise stop. You know, maybe it's just a case of where I can't really be bothered with that. I'm just gonna listen to the silence in the background.
Yeah, it's almost like it's saying, well, if you believe in any one of these scenarios, you're going to manifest it and it's going to happen like that. Whether you believe negative or you believe positive, it's kind of giving me that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd take plan C or D, which, however many options the mind has come up with, or F, and just opt out completely. If you can, just notice the silence in the background and see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just the easiest way to take attention off the thoughts is just to put it back on what is constant and real, and in that way you're automatically assuring the highest outcome possible then.
Yeah.
For whatever is going to occur tomorrow, as you said, will occur unimpeded by the thoughts around this, even if they're still going on, which they may be, for some time, but just enough to shift attention, isn't it, back to what's real.
Yeah.
And maybe there's another option that mind just cannot see. Option G, that mind is completely unaware of.
And I don't have to plan what I'm going to say, because what I need to say will come out effortless at the time. Yeah.
Whatever comes out of the silence is going to be completely different, isn't it, to what comes out of a whole evening spent trying to make the mind go quiet. And it's just, whichever way you can get back to the real self, attention back to the real self, if that's silence or stillness or even just awareness of the thoughts, immediately there's awareness of those thoughts, of all the options there must be.
Yeah, there is. Just having a little party in there by themselves.
Yeah, just let them do that. It's fine. It's mine's just feeling a little bored, maybe. Like, come and play with me. I'm feeling a little lonely over here.
Maybe. All right. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thanks.
Thank you. Lopa.
Thank you, Helen. My mind is like, you always share, stop sharing, stop saying stuff, sort of thing. So yes, I'm just going to try and ignore it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share about like fear and how it was really present and projected out onto my felines, and it came back in the way of finances. I barely even had to. It's like there's a separation between myself and my mind. I can see it. I can see all the words and I hear it and stuff, but it just doesn't. For those things, just doesn't feel like part of me. And so I stayed with the question of is it true that I'm not safe? And I even went into whose bank account is it anyway? It was
which one of these bodies is mine anyway? Which bank account is mine if I'm everywhere?
I left that one over there, but no.
I love that one with more zeros on it.
Yeah. So it was just really freeing. And I don't, like, mine's going, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I barely had to stay with the question. I mean, maybe I should have stayed with it longer, I don't know. But if it may come back in a different form, and that's okay. So I know that the belief is still there and it's still attached, or I'm still attached to identifying with it. So yeah, it was just really good.
It will shapeshift. Suddenly I was afraid of driving on icy roads and driving in snow, and I've never been afraid of that in my life. I love it. Suddenly I'm shaking behind the wheel. I'm thinking, hang on a minute. And then I sort of transcended that fear and it jumped somewhere else then. I was like, and it's like one of those whack-a-mole games in the end, but if it pops up somewhere else, you just go, okay, like you just said, there's just I've got to stay with the question. And once ego sees that you're going to follow it wherever it goes, meaning you're not just going to go unconscious and let it manifest somewhere else, it will stop. You just sort of notice it. Oh, well, there it is now. It's taken that shape now. Usually before that's worked in the past to distract us. we feel like we've got over this particular issue. So it's just to keep an eye on where it's showing up, and just keep whacking it with a hammer with the question until it's completely gone.
Yeah, thank you. Can I ask one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So anger, I'm not sure, but I don't think I've ever felt it. Or experienced it. And it was in your book about things that we're really scared of being fearful of feeling, or allowing, like, up and out. I don't know if there's just a massive blockage towards anger with me, and do I encourage to bring it up and out, or if it's not there, it's not there. I don't know how to sort of go about. That's definitely one of the things that I've just either blocked myself from, or just never felt. I'm not sure.
It could be that there just isn't any there at the moment, or it could also be that perhaps in the past, when you've expressed some anger, it's been given, it's been treated by those around you as a very negative thing. You know, a lot of beings don't like someone expressing anger. They begin to feel unsafe themselves, and for no fault of their own will discourage you from expressing that, you know, and it might even have a shameful feeling attached to it, or, you know, that I just shouldn't do that, I shouldn't feel that. You know, of course, nobody has told us this verbally, consciously. It's just kind of, it can sometimes just get picked up along the way that this isn't an appropriate thing for me to feel. I shouldn't feel this. So only you know really if that's what's been picked up along the way. Most people are much more comfortable with fear and you know, unworthiness, things like that. Anger can tend to make people scared, so it could be that. I wouldn't worry so much really, because if it is there, as you continue to recognize what is real, any suppression mechanisms that are functioning will begin to disappear, as you probably noticed with fear coming up. So if there is anything to come up, it will be it will come to the surface.
Yeah,
maybe just
really
have a look
helpful.
and see if you've somehow associated anger, you know, with not being an appropriate emotion or something like that. And of course, if it's very physically expressing itself, it's not, but it's just an emotion, isn't it, that we will feel at some point. So
yeah, because I think, like, I was around a lot of anger for a lot of years, and it made me very fearful. Yeah, so I guess that it's probably like
it's probably become associated inside that it's not safe to be angry or to be around anger. That's probably what it is. And you might find that it starts to emerge once you've worked through the fear. You know, you might find that it comes to the surface. It's a more empowering thing. You know, anger tends to move you to do something, to change something, whereas fear can sometimes paralyze you, or it can really motivate you to get away from something. But you might find it's underneath the fear, you know, from what you've just said, probably. But it's just the same. You just deal with it like anything else, you know, just to be with it as much as you can, to understand why it's there, that you really felt this way in the past, you know, and now it can just release it and not judge it when it comes up.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Helen.
You're very welcome. Good questions. Nikki?
Hi, Helen.
Hiya.
Are you okay?
I am. Are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, just really wanted to share just what you were talking about really sort of resonates with me, because that's sort of been my experience for a little while now, is that I feel the emotions and the thoughts come, but they don't mean anything to me anymore. They don't matter anymore. So I can see them, but there's not been any effect. I can just I'm just sort of looking at them.
Yeah.
and for the most part, I feel like there's nothing to do, nothing to say, nothing to become, nothing to unbecome, just this real deep sense of isness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it, really.
Good. And hopefully there's a contentment and a peace developing with that, and
Yeah,
deepening, ever deepening. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's like you say, it was in the end, it was a really simple thing, you know, all that trying to quiet my mind and this, that, and the other, and meditating, and obviously there's nothing wrong with any of that, but in the end, that's what I realized. So when you said it tonight, I'd already had that realization myself, that actually in the end it was really simple.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just where I'm consistently putting my attention until you don't have to. It's just effortless, and it's just becoming more and more natural to do that. So I'm not having to think, right, put my attention somewhere.
You have to put
You know,
a little consistency into it first, don't you? Have to kind of a little
yeah,
effort to notice the moment, because automatically otherwise we're sustaining this habit of recognizing, only looking at the shapes and the forms. And but once you start to feel how good that feels in the mind and body when you do notice the moment consistently, it's like, oh, I want some more of that, you know. So
yeah,
good.
and it is really simple. It is actually, I'm laughing to myself because it is actually really simple.
Totally. 25
In the
years of
end.
trying to change the mind and body,
Yeah,
trying to make it wake up, and then instantaneous, oh, there's this moment already here that's already perfect, you know. Ooh, you know, and
yeah,
then
but
probably
thank you so much, because all the questions and everything that, you know, have just helped so much. They really have. It's been invaluable. So I'm so
wonderful,
grateful. Thank you.
wonderful. I'm glad it's deepening for you, and just gets better and better every day now. More peace, more love, more joy, more bliss, more energy, more happiness, all of that.
Yeah. Thanks
Fantastic.
so much, Helen.
Thank you for sharing. That's lovely.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome. Okay, unless anyone else would like to ask, we will leave it there for today. I'll just give it another moment. Okay, then we will, oh, Sergio, yeah. Just got in there before we.
Hi, Helen.
Hi,
Namaste.
how are you? Namaste.
Very well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. When the moment disappears, or there appears to disappear, and then we come back to be feeling that I'm separate from the moment or the Noúmeno, how to get it to be back to into the Noúmeno? How I hear you in another Satsang, loving what is, like if there's fear or anger, to stay with that. How it is exactly that, to stay with the fear, to love that in that moment, to get back to the Noúmeno. Is it clear, my question?
I think so. Yeah, it was how to be that moment. Is that what you're asking? Or
Yeah, it's like, let's say that right now, well, before we were experiencing, or I was experiencing the numbness, and then maybe if I feel fear in the body, or the body feels fear, not me, how can I love that fear so that I don't feel the sensation that I'm separate from the Noúmeno, from the
I
noun?
see. Right. Yeah.
That
Okay.
is my
Okay.
question. Thank you.
So, if fear arises in the body, how would this moment respond to it? What would this moment do in response to that fear? How would it treat it? kind of a trick question, really.
Well, I suppose it will love it. I suppose it will nurture it because it is itself.
Would it be able to reject it, or would it be able to do anything at all with that fear? The formless, intangible moment of now. What would it do if some emotion arose in the body? Would it would it do anything at all other than just completely? It has no ability or preference for what arises in this moment at all, does it? It just completely allows positive or negative emotion, positive or negative thoughts, experiences. Anything that arises in this moment is completely allowed by this moment. And not in a cold way, not like I just don't care. It's just completely without any ability to discriminate between what it would like to appear in this moment. Anything at all, any shape can appear at all inside, and it treats them all the same, just allowed completely to exist in its whatever is appearing is completely given permission to exist completely for as long as it wants to be there. So that's, if ever we are being like that, then we are being this moment. Even if it does the same thing where there's nothing appearing in this moment, whether it's full of objects and emotions and thoughts. It's not making a stance at all. It's just completely unable to resist or grab or anything. Completely just here. That's the only thing. It doesn't move. It's not in opposition with anything. And it's just very, very passive in a way, isn't it? It's completely allowing however this moment is appearing to appear. And we can kind of be like that, can't we? We can take that stance. What happens when I completely don't resist what's appearing in this moment at all? Even to try to get back to this moment, is that even something this moment can do? This nowness, can it lose its nowness? Can it have to get back? Or is this even some trick of the mind, that I have a journey back to notice, there's something I have to do to get back.
Right.
This moment is not even capable of that, is it? It can't even not be itself. We can come to sort of really take that in deeply, that attention goes to thoughts, emotions, and an intention might go back to this moment. Has this moment been affected at all in that? Has anything changed for it? Is it affected or moved or changed? Even if for a whole lifetime attention was on the phenomena of the body and the mind, has it affected this moment in its intangibility at all? So you can come to see it doesn't really even matter in the end where attention is, although we need to at first give the instruction to put attention on this moment so that we recognize it clearly and come to see that's what we really are and are first and foremost. So if mind says, oh, you've lost it now, you have to get back to the Noúmeno, can you just opt out of that? Can you say, no thanks, not my job? I don't even need to do that,
Great.
Yeah. And mind goes, oh, well, how are you gonna get back to peace? Or what if I don't have to? What if that very idea has what's disturbed me, that I've got somewhere to go? This moment, if you were to be like this moment, be like it completely. Is it trying to get back anywhere? Has it lost anything? Is it affected at all when attention wanders? Really, is it at all? So mind says, you've got to get back to the Noúmeno. So you see what happens when you just go, no thanks, I'm not going to. I'm just going to wait and see what happens.
Great.
And then it's lost you, mind's lost you then, because that's the last place we play with it,
Okay.
Lovely. Have fun with that as well. It's Don't make a journey for yourself to where you already are, you know. Otherwise it's a very long journey and you never arrive.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Lovely. Good question. Okay. We will leave it there then for tonight. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.